Ah, what have we here? Interesting. Right out of the gate. That's cool. Huh. Huh. Hello all, Brett here for Topo Ranger. Ah! See that? Look at that. This thing has got me. I pulled, was trying to get ready to do my intro. Ah! Look at that. Ah! Things. Spikes right in the arm. I really hate thorns, as I think everybody does. Let's take care of this. Of course, it's still sticking to me though. Alexander the Great. What does he have to do with this place? Well, it looks like to me we have Pennsylvania's very own Gordian knot. If you're unfamiliar with the story, basically, in a nutshell, Alexander the Great, one of the first things he does in his trip, in his conquering of the Persian Empire, is he crosses into Anatolia, what is now modern-day Turkey, goes to this town named, I think the town's name was Gorgia, Gordia, where there was this thing everybody already knew about. It's kind of a legendary thing in that part of the world, the Gordian knot. It was this huge knot, so complicated, so complex that nobody could ever figure out how to undo it. It was unsolvable. It was pull apartable. Nobody could do it. And it was rumored, the legend goes, that whoever could figure out how to undo the Gordian knot would be the ruler of the whole world, or the ruler of Persia, or would conquer Persia, or something like that. Basically, whoever figured out how to do it would become a legend, because after all, it was you could not undo this knot. It's kind of like the sword and the stone. I think is an King Arthur legend. You know, who could ever pull the sword out of the stone? Looks like there's something right there. Would become, you know, king or whatever. It's kind of like one of those things. So Alexander, being Alexander, walks up to the knot, looks at it, and we're talking about a thing that was, you know, it's probably the size of this pillar right here. Huge knot. You know, I mean, there's no way anybody could do it. He walks up to the knot, he looks at it, probably said a few words, raised his sword, and cut it in half in one motion. Undoubtedly, the crowd cheers. He tilts his head, right? And that was it. So much for the Gordian knot. That's how he solved the problem. Of course, he went on to do all the things that he did, as only he could do, and that was it. So I just cut this Gordian knot, which is really just made out of weeds. Not to say that's not to compare myself to that dude, because I mean, let's be honest, there really is no outdoing Alexander the Great. So here we are, and before we get started, please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications, go to TOPO_Ranger, follow me on Instagram and also Facebook. Go to Facebook, type in Topo Ranger, and follow me there. So today, got off to a good start, right? I mean, legendary. We're in Lancaster County, and today is going to be kind of a classic episode because we got everything today. We got streams, we got old quarries, we got industrial historical tie-ins, we got a cave with a historical tie-in, we got a small tunnel with an industrial historical tie-in, and we have here obviously some pretty big honking ruins, something up there. We got it all. Got everything that I like to do. Hopefully it's got everything that you like to do too. So let's get started. This probably is the 6th time overall I've been to this location. What first brought me to this location many, many moons ago, it's got to be over a decade now, it was the cave. But like any location, you can go there many times and still come and discover new things. I have seen these before, but I didn't remember them being this big. This thing here is looking pretty cool. Some kind of chute. And there's more down there. First thing we're doing is we're gonna hit this tunnel. Not a big tunnel, maybe 30, 40 feet long. I kind of came across this tunnel. I actually surveyed it as kind of a little caving project, even though it isn't actually a cave. And there's a map of it somewhere in one of the old newsletters. I'll see if I can dig it up and include it in this video. But it's a really interesting tunnel. It's called Dynamite Hole. And that's what we're doing first. Let's go. All right, we're here. I got a little turned around. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've been here. So I took a wrong turn, hiked a little bit somewhere where I wasn't wanting to hike. That's okay, because we're here. Dynamite Hole. I think the geology in this general area is pretty complex in terms of there's all kinds of interwoven stuff. Limestone, schist, all kinds of stuff. But I'm pretty sure that this right here is in the limestone. And there it is, that's Dynamite Hole. So let's go ahead and take my backpack off. All right, so backstory here is 10 plus years ago, I was looking for a cave, a small cave, but a natural cave that's in this general area. Came out here, I wasn't quite sure where it was, had an idea of, about, so I started walking around, and I came across this. And at first, I knew it wasn't the actual cave that I was looking for because it didn't fit the description. And I pretty quickly realized that it was a man-made situation. Didn't quite know exactly why it was here. So I want to be careful going in here because I have seen bats in here before, so I try not to disturb them. First time I came here, there were no bats. The second time there was. I think there was like 2 or 3. But you can kind of see, it's pretty easy to tell as soon as you get in here that this is kind of a man-made situation. Just by the way the walls look. And it doesn't go back. It's only about 40, well, not even 30 feet long. And I was trying to figure out what it was, why it was here. So I described it to some people that I knew, and one person threw out the idea, which I really thought would probably make the most sense, was that when we're very close to a big dam. There's a whole bunch of dams on the lower Susquehanna, and directly that way, if you just walk that way to the river, there is a dam there. And when they were building the dam, obviously they used a lot of dynamite. And somebody said, well, it's probably a dynamite hole. It's probably where they stored their dynamite, and probably had a gate on it so that if for some reason dynamite actually accidentally exploded, it would just blow up inside of this rock cut hole tunnel, and it wouldn't hurt anybody because one of the reasons they might have done that is because not far from here is Bosman's Hollow, where the Shanks Ferry Wildflower Preserve is. And if you walk up far enough up the Wildflower Preserve, there's a spot with a sign, like a memorial, because at that spot back in, I think it's the early 1900s, or maybe the late 1800s, there was a dynamite factory that exploded and blew apart a whole bunch of men. It killed a lot of people. Some of them they were able to recover. Other ones were literally blown to bits. They only found bits and pieces. It's a really gruesome story, but it's very interesting historically. If you want to find out more about that, check out Adam Zern's website, unchartedlancaster.com, because he wrote a whole article, and he goes into detail about what happened at the Bosman's Hollow dynamite explosion. So my guess is that maybe they created this dynamite hole to avoid that. Now, there wasn't a dynamite factory here, obviously, but you got to have a secure location. Check for bats. I see a little pack rat stuff up there. Yeah, a little pack rat nest. You see that right there? Let's see here. Oh, geez, there's a big spider, of course. Looks like somebody had a little fire here. Oh, man, oh, gee, look at that sucker. That might be is it a wolf spider or a huntsman? That might be a huntsman. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. There's another one. I'm not like terrified of spiders, but you know what? Now, that one might be a dark fishy. I don't know. And there's all these little gnats everywhere. I'm not terrified. I'm not scared of spiders, but when you turn around, there's one hanging off the ceiling. It kind of freaks me out. Looks like there's a joint there in the rock. That looks like some type of mushroom. Anyway, as you can see, oh, and there's some quartz. I think this is the lime. I think this is it's either the vintage. I think this is the vintage limestone. And you can see the drill marks here, where they had drilled to blast the sucker out. There's one right there. One right there. There's, ooh, what's that? Some nuts. I mean, I'm sure this is a great place for all kinds of woodland creatures to hang out in. I don't see any bats. I see 2 large spiders and a big mushroom, and lots of gnats. And that's it. While they were building the dam, they would have stored the bulk of the dynamite here, probably. They might have had a guard at the entrance, or there might have been some kind of locking door, or maybe this was all just locked down and nobody would come here. Or maybe you could come here and just walk in, but you're not gonna, it's not so much they're worried about people stealing the dynamite as much as they're worried about it exploding randomly, because that does happen, and killing a bunch of people. So they would have come, get the dynamite, bring it over there, use it for their blasting. There's also 2 quarries, 2 abandoned quarries right here in this general vicinity. The rock from those quarries was probably used in the construction of the dam. At least that's what I would imagine. That's why I call this Dynamite Hole. This actually is the outflow of one of the old quarries in this immediate area where they sourced the rock for the dam, and probably other things too. But you can see you got a nice amount of flow there, but this is mostly coming out of that quarry, which is right over there, and that's where the ruins are farther down this stream. I don't know the name of the stream, it might not have a name, but down that way is where we started the video, and that's where those ruins are. We're gonna hit those up on the way out of here. For now, like I said, part 2. We're going underground again, but this time we're going to a natural cave. And I know for sure that this one is actually formed in a Conestoga limestone. And if you watched the last episode, Cabin Creek Walkabout, part 2 and part 1, I'll put a link to both of those right there. And also right there. I talk about in those episodes how the Conestoga limestone is mostly not good for forming caves because of the nature of it. It's got a whole bunch of gunk in it. Grit, grimy, sandy. It's got all kinds of crap in it that don't make it good for forming caves. However, there are caves that do form in it, and I did mention that a lot of the caves that do manage to form in the Conestoga form preferentially in a layer or a zone or a horizon within the overall formation that is relatively pure and therefore can form some caves. Anyway, just a little background, geological background on the Conestoga there in terms of caves and stuff. But we are going to go see this cave that is formed, and it's pretty cool because it has because it's formed in that limestone. So we'll get to see what a pure part of it looks like from the inside out, and also it has a interesting historical connection. So let's go find this sucker.